it's kind of strange that I didn't have a problem with ADHD until after I was diagnosed. And now I know what it stands for. Apparently Dennis has defects. I mean, it caused me a lot of problems. Yeah, I make the Energizer Bunny jealous. No batteries required, and I don't need a drum to get on people's nerves, you know. Like in first grade, the teacher would ask, she would say, what came first, the chicken or the egg? And I would just blurt out, the rooster. And she'd be like, Mr. Wade, that wasn't one of the options. Now, why would you say something like that? And I'm like, well, because I seen him out smoking a cigarette and the chicken was still playing with herself. I even get kicked out of Bible school for asking one simple question. I really want to know, but I was just curious and inquisitive. So, like, I asked the teacher, I said, you know, so like if a man's libido works when he's young, and then he gets a little older and it doesn't work as good, and then he gets to be an old man, it quits working altogether. If he takes Viagra, is that a resurrection? You know, and then my mom's like, you know, son, you need the Word of God in your life. And I'm like, okay. So I would go in my room every day and I would eat a page out of my Bible. She comes in one day and she says, son, that's not what we mean by digesting the Word. And I'm like going, thanks for telling me, Mom, because it really don't taste like bread anyway. Or like once when my dog ate my dad's birthday cake and my dad's really mad about it. And I'm like, Dad, all you got to do is eat the dog and you'll have your cake too. And he's like, son, only Chinese eat dogs. And I'm thinking, well, cool, next year I'll get him a rice cake for his birthday and treat him to Chinese dinner, you know. I asked my wife just recently, I said, you know, hey, if makeup sex is what we get after an argument, when do I get after the silent treatment? And she says, dirty talk. And I'm like, bullshit. I just had to argue for the fuck of it, you know. She comes to me and she goes, well, hey, can you imagine the makeup sex if we argue for 6 whole months? And I'm thinking, oh, God, I'm not into group things. I was just using the power of suggestion, hoping for the silent treatment. I resisted medication for ADHD. I resisted. I finally break down and I take it. You know, and so now I go back to my therapist and I say, you know, that wasn't so bad. Go ahead and write me a prescription. And she said, I did. That was a month's supply. And I'm like, holy shit, I took a month's supply last night? That explains it. I thought my neighbor was crazy when she ran up to me this morning and said, you know, you were on the roof of your house at 3 in the morning butt naked? Which gave me an idea, you know. The following month I would just give it all to my wife, because she can't climb on the roof, you know. I was told since then by 4 neighbors, talking about we're getting around quick neighborhood watch, that I was actually helping her on the roof. She doesn't remember a thing and swears I gave her the date rape drug, and I'm like, sweetheart, I promise I didn't give you a, I didn't want to say the word roofie. I know this is a college town and stuff, and I'm from a college town down in Laramie, Wyoming, and so I go into college the other day, and I go, and I get this, sir, you sign up for classes over here, because that's how they talk, you know, and so I go, I'm not here to sign up for classes, you know, I want to teach, and they say, what kind of curriculum do you have to offer this school? And I said, trigonometry. They said, and she says to me, you know, there's no such thing, and I said, it's mathematics, everybody knows that, and she says to me, that's not legitimate. And I'm thinking, okay, in mathematics, you multiply anything times 0 equals 0, right? Okay, in mathematics, you multiply anybody times math, they end up with 0. I thought it was legitimate, you know. And I was actually thinking of cloning myself the other day, and you know, that way I could pat myself on the back, you know, and if you don't want to take my word for something, I could offer you a second opinion. And but I was afraid of identity theft, and then it dawns on me that, hey, I could clone myself twice, and I wouldn't have to worry about it because no one wants to cash a third-party check, you know. But I'd be stuck with me, myself, and I, and it wouldn't be long before I'd get on my nerves because I talk myself too much, you know, and I do that sometimes anyway. And I'd be plotting to kill me, and so I'm asking a friend of mine, I said, would that be a suicide? Because I'm looking at it like self-sacrifice, and he says to me, you know, it would be considered manslaughter because I am one, and I'm thinking, not only could I represent myself in court, but they could maybe testify because that'd be self-incrimination. And when I got found guilty, hell, I'll let him do the time. I mean, I prepared him ahead of time. I'd be like, cell division, cell technology? Don't worry about it right now. You'll find out when you get to your cell what all that means. And I already know what I name him. George Clooney. I would even write a movie about it. I would call it Ice Cream Clones. Yeah, it's a chiller. It's about 2 brothers, Ben and Jerry Klondike, and they own a bar. And they get drunk and stuff, and then while they're drunk, the townspeople, they take them over and they clone them, And so the townspeople start asking questions like, what do they do at the Klondike's bar? They just milk their customers and clone them. I know that's cold, but I was hoping it won't be a total meltdown. That's only one of several movies I'm writing. Actually, I'm writing another movie. My movie actually is called That. You know, my movie's called That, so that people will be like, hey man, did you see that? And you're like, yeah, I wasn't expecting that, but that turned out to be a damn good movie, you know? And the character name in the movie is It. And here's the plot. It has to become that. That's it. Well, I figure if you like that, dig this, because part 2 is called this, and this is how that got started. This is the beginning of that, and this is what that's really all about. So I figured people in the theater would be saying stuff like, wow, man, I didn't think you got any better than that, but this tops them all. I mean, you could bring your whole family to see this. I mean, this is worth writing home to mom about. Hell, I'd pay to see this twice. Part 3, I'd call the other, and that way I'd hear people talking about this, that, and the other. And remember me. Thank you. I'm Dennis.
Dennis Wade,